Yeah, welcome everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
So, if someone can help me with that, where we stopped last, I think that would be nice. Be good for the sake of being good. Had we done that? This
Yes.
one you have? Okay.
No, Monica, we have not done that.
We have not done that. Okay. Badalji says we have done that.
Oh,
Badalji,
Yes.
are you sure that we have
oh,
taken up this?
sorry, I was
So
absent
we
last.
have to start with be good for the sake of being good.
Okay, we have to start. Okay, that's
Yes.
what I was asking. Okay, ठीक है, ठीक है. So let's start today with this. Yeah, anyone would like to read, please go ahead.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay.
Be good for the sake of being good. You must not cherish. You must not cherish the illusion that if you want to follow the straight path, if you are modest, if you seek purity, if you are disinterested, if you want to lead a solitary existence and have a clear judgment, things will become easy. It is quite the contrary. When you begin to advance towards inner and outer perfection, the difficulties start at the same time. I have very often heard people saying, "Oh, now that I am trying to be good, everybody seems to be bad to me." But this is precisely to teach you that one should not be good with an interested motive. One should not be good so that others will be good to you. One must be good for the sake of being good. It is always the same lesson. One must do as well as one can, the best one can, but without expecting a result, without doing it with a view to the result, just this attitude to expect a reward for a good action, to become good because one thinks that this will make the life easier, takes away all value from the good action. You must be good for the love of goodness. You must be just for the love of justice. You must be pure for the love of purity. And you must be disinterested for the love of disinterestedness. Then you are sure to advance on the way.
Yeah, thank you. So if we have any thoughts or reflections at this moment, please go ahead. Has anyone heard the interview of Sri Surendranath Johar with mother? Have you heard that?
Yeah, Monica.
You have? Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't heard.
Sujata ji has not. Badal ji also, you have not heard that?
No.
Okay, okay. So I think let's hear it a little today because it's exactly so. Sri Surendranath Johar, he was, some of us may be aware, he was father of Tara Didi, who is presently the chairperson of Sri Aurobindo Ashram Delhi branch. And he was a freedom fighter, very passionate patriot, and went to jail a lot of times for the country. And he had 10 children in total, 5 boys, 5 girls. And irrespective, he found the mother and left all the children in the grace of the mother, and actually kept going to the jail also for a lot longer time. Then he decided to, he had property and he bought property also. He was doing some other business. And then he, with that land, he, with mother's blessings, mother actually, after Pondicherry, there is only one ashram. Rest all are society centers, Sri Aurobindo society centers. There is only one ashram which we can call ashram, and that one is Delhi ashram. So he began that ashram, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi, with the blessings of the mother, and then there the school in the premises also started with the blessings of the mother. So he was facing a lot of problems while he was making kind of really rebellious, doing rebellious things while in his time. The kind of life he was leading, very passionate and full of wanting to do the best possible, higher, loft, had a lot of company of saints and sages from everywhere. That too he enjoyed. A wonderful storyteller he was. So he, from time to time, would go to Pondicherry and seek mother's blessings and ask questions also. So one of those interviews has been recorded, and he's asking his questions of troubles and difficulties that are coming on the way while he's trying to do mother's work. And mother says that, which really touches me a lot, because I I've heard it so many times, and every time I hear it, it just feels so right. So he's talking to mother and saying that, mother, I'm suffering, and my own people, they are not giving me support, something like that. And mother says, your own people are as complex and complicated as anybody else. Human mind is same everywhere. So what do you expect out of your own people? But if you want my support, mother says, if you want the divine support, I am with you. I totally approve of the work you are doing. But if you seek approval of human beings, then you can remain disappointed forever. So this is to also see that all the people who have really done courageous work in their lifetime, really pathbreakers, all of them have faced rejections. Jesus Christ, in their own time, he was hanged on cross. Now we may revere him and build churches and everything, but at his own time, he was insulted and, tied totally and, brought to death, actually, murdered, one can say. So we must be ready to undergo all the rejections, insults, disapprovals of people around us, no matter how dear, closed, loved ones they are to us. If we know that what we are doing is actually selfless and disinterested, and this is the right way for me to go. So that interview of Sri Surendranath Johar with mother, we can hear maybe a small bit of it. It's very helpful, I feel. It's really, it's inspirational, that, yes, Sardaji?
Yeah, Monica. So your people, mother will ask. So that particular, you mentioned that sentence also. See, before this, Mira's wedding, and lot of things were going on. So each time, if somebody says something, I remember that only. There is no our people are different people. They are human beings. We are all human beings. We are made with lot of complexities in us. So mother explains it so well. It is a good. Thank you so much for bringing it up. Yeah, it's nice to watch. How many ever times we want to watch.
True, very true, very true. Yes. Yeah. So let's maybe. So it's not a video, although pictures have been put. It's an audio interview. We can maybe have a little bit of it. I don't know where exactly that comes, where, or maybe we'll read it in the, yeah. So in the beginning, mother is saying that the present time is a time of conflict, and things are changing very fast, in the beginning, and lots of difficulties are arising, and each individual brings one aspect of those difficulties out. Yeah. So let's hear maybe a little bit of it. Yeah. And then mother says, what is the remedy in such conflicting situations? So we start from that remedy.
It is a total, complete, and conditioned surrender. What I mean by that is the giving up not only of one's action, work, ambitions, but also of all one's feeling, in the sense that all what you do, all what you are, is exclusively for the divine. So you feel above the human surrounding reaction. Not only above them, but protected from them by the wall of the divine's grace. Once you have no more desires, no more attachments, once you have given up all necessity of receiving a reward from the human beings, whoever they are, knowing that the only reward that is worth getting is that one that comes from the Supreme, and that never fails. Once you give up the attachment to all the exterior beings and things, you at once feel in your heart this presence, this force, this grace that is always with you. And there is no other remedy. It's the only remedy for everybody without exception. All those who suffer, it's the same thing that has to be said. All suffering is the sign that the surrender is not total. Then, when you feel in your pain like that, instead of saying, oh, this one is bad, or this circumstance is difficult, you say, my surrender is not perfect. And then you feel the grace that helps you and leads you, and you go. And one day you emerge in that peace that nothing can trouble. You answer to all the contrary forces, the contrary movements, the attacks, the misunderstanding, the bad will, with the same smile that comes from full confidence in the divine grace. And that is the only way out. There is no other. This world is a world of conflict, suffering, difficulty, strain. It's made of it. It has not yet changed. It will take some time before changing. And for each one, there is the possibility of getting out. If you lean back on the presence of the Supreme Grace, that is the only way that I'm telling you since 2-3 days like that. Constant.
Yeah, so just this part also I wanted to share where Surendranath ji asks a question to the mother and then she responds to that. And it is regarding wanting human appreciation, something like that, because he says that he is suffering and mother says that somewhere there must be this conflict inside you, because if you totally rely on the divine grace, the suffering cannot be there. So that's what mother tells.
Wanted to you make it quite.
That is what I wanted to. That is why just I wanted to say this. Whether this work is in any manner needed or not, why should I go on doing this?
Excellent. Go on doing it, you do it perfectly well. Don't expect human appreciation because the human beings, they don't know on what grounds they can appreciate, and moreover, when there is something that is superior to them, they don't like it. And the first movement is wrong.
Where to get such a strength to get? Where to get such a strength to?
It's in you. The divine presence is in you. It is in you. You look for it outside, look inside. It is in you. The presence is there. You want the appreciation of the others to get strength. You will never get it. The strength is in you. If you want, you can aspire to what seems to you the supreme good, supreme light, supreme knowledge, supreme love. But it is in you. Otherwise you would never be able to contact it. If you go deep enough inside you, you will find it there. Like a flame that is always burning straight up. The messages that I can't write just now, I will send. I keep your paper. I will send the messages, and for your gentleman also, I will send him a card and some blessings.
So I'll share the link for this whole interview on our WhatsApp group. We can, at our own time, we can listen to it fully. So why I took up this interview was because this is exactly what the passage that was read, that be good for the sake of being good. So whatever work you are doing for the sake of it, not because the work will get me appreciation, praises, accolades, and I will not have to go through any insults, because whatever good work has been done during that time, the work has been rejected, insulted. And that's how somehow in history we have so many examples of mystics and masters that in their own time they were not appreciated because they were far ahead of their time. But when we look back now, hundreds of years past, then we revere them as gurus and masters. Not everybody can understand while they are alive that they are actually doing a great work, which we call divine sacrifice. So even for our normal ordinary beings like us, in our case also, when we begin to listen to our heart's calling, there are times when people don't appreciate it. I have personally gone through many instances where my own close, as close as you can think of, blood relatives, siblings, whatever, and nobody approved of whatever I was doing, even now. But that doesn't discourage me, because my rooting is not everywhere outside in the persons. That's what mother was sharing, that you get disappointed because your rooting is outside. You look outside to get approval from persons, beings, situations. But if your look is inside, mother was sharing, and totally rooted in the divine, when you know that it's not arrogance working, but the divine work that you are doing, then there is no point to be waiting for approvals from people while you work. So being good for the sake of being good, and doing whatever work that one is doing, following heart's call for the sake of it, because you are choiceless now. You can't live otherwise. There is no other possibility that you have. Yeah, anything here? Anyone?
Okay, my brother, he's in Ramakrishna Mission actually. So he had, he's elder to me, and he had the similar problems like so many people, those who are relatives and all this. Nobody approved of it actually. They said he's an escapist. He just wanted to escape from the family life, married life or something. So the fact is that the same people now, those who are surviving and all this, they're saying that whatever he has done, that was good. So Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, used to say, who has told this? Something, something. He says there's a so-and-so person. He's saying that lok na pok in Bengali. Lok means man and pok means insect. Is it? Do not consider at all. If somebody has said, if you know him or don't know him and all this, forget about that. Forget about that. They are just like insects, because they always look from their angle, actually, angle of vision, whatever, whether that person is benefited or not from your performance or something and all this. So that he will say good. If you are not this thing, so they will say it is bad. So we have become so selfish, and from the beginning of our life, we have been brought up like this. If somebody gives the good, 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 so we like it. So our ego increases, and all. We like that actually, because of this. People will give clap or something and all this. So I want to speak or sing or whatever maybe. So that was from the beginning. Actually, it has been actually our poisons, means we are affected by the poisons actually. So that was the problem. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Yes. In Savitri, we have many beautiful lines where they tell us how to root ourselves. Sri Aurobindo talks about rooting. When there is Ashupati's yoga, he talks that he plunged his roots in the infinite. While in our case, we plunge our roots in the quicksand, in people around us, situations which always keep on changing. And so then we have moods going up and down and up and down. So if we now have done enough of that up and down, and we are tired of that, then I think it's time that we really totally ground ourselves. And then another line that comes is that he sustenance from occult spiritual founts. So your roots, because roots are the ones sustaining a plant. So roots are plunged in the infinite, and so all the sustenance is coming from the infinite spiritual founts.
In Bhagavad Gita also this shloka is there.
Which one?
The roots are upwards.
Ashwatha tree.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was not understanding actually what does it mean.
Yes.
How can the root be upwards? Because the root has to go in the earth, and it is to draw water and all this stuff. Yeah. But it is not so. In this case, the roots are always upwards.
Yes. Exactly.
The branches are down.
Yes. So, branches and the expanse of the tree means that our interactions and work and relationships are in the material. Yes. But we are not sustaining ourselves from the material. We are sustaining ourselves from the occult founts. So that's what that inverted tree, which also comes in Kabirji's songs and couplets also, the inverted tree. Yeah.
And even the says karmane badhikarasti ma phaleshu kadachana. And in this also, the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that your duty is to work.
Hmm.
Do not depend on the fruit actually, whether
Hmm.
it is good or bad or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that is the thing. The teachings of Gita, but only thing these are not been told since beginning of our life.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it is difficult to understand at this stage.
Yes. Yeah, I think what can we do? Wherever we are, we have to start. As mother says, it's never too late and it's never too early. That's what mother says. Always it's actually late, but she says it's never too late, but it's never too early also. So wherever we are, we can start. Yeah, anything here? Anyone? Also, many a times in close relationships, we face this problem that we have disappointment of, say, our behavior was not reciprocated. You acted well with somebody close to you, but the person insulted you, rejected you, or whatever, became angry at you, did not appreciate your gesture of behavior, all of that. So there also we have to see that I am the way I am behaving in this case, it's a kind of a goodwill behavior. I have no other choice but to behave like that. So whether I get mud in response of that, or whether I get jewels in response of that, I have no other choice. So that is where we slowly, because when we root ourselves in the divine, there is a disinterest that comes from the worldly interactions. It's not that you are not interacting, you are interacting, but there is no personal motive and interest. So then we are able to take these these surges of insults, rejections, which come from time to time without any, it's like equanimity. We talk of equanimity, that if praises, we were talking of praise and insult last time. So if someone praises, nothing doing. If someone insults, nothing moves. So that is a very good observation for ourselves, that what is happening in me as a result of the outward triggers, because that's where I see that, oh, abhi rooting proper nahi hai. I'm not rooted properly in the divine. I'm still wanting approvals and appreciation, and the look is still turned outside, as mother was sharing in the interview. So the look has to turn within, and there is so much to be done within. If we read Savitri, we realize that search for the soul is not an easy search. We have to travel deeper and deeper, go through so many up and down, and still, and in at one place where Savitri is finding her soul, Sri Aurobindo writes somewhere. I'll share the exact line. He says that she clung to the name. We talk of taking the name of the mother, so that she could actually go forward in the journey, because there are so many upheavals on the way while you are going within your being to get in touch with your true consciousness. So there is so much work to be done. The union with the divine is not complete. तो हम जब इतना ध्यान बाहर की बातों पे लगा देते हैं, it drains so much of energy that, oh, that person did not smile at me, and we waste 2 hours in that, thinking about that, sometimes days. So our look has to slowly really turn. We have to be convinced that it has to turn inside. And as Badalji was sharing in the beginning, like insect, if there is a small little fly in this room, I would not focus myself on that. It's there, it's living, and I can exist and do my work with that. So let all the triggers, outer triggers be. We have to do that let all the triggers be, but we have to do the work which is required within, because time is short. How much life we have left, we don't know. How many lifetimes we need further, that also we don't know. So at least the life that we have right now, time is really, really short. We need to make the best use of it. At least those of us who are convinced of the path, that yes, there is something to be done. So stabilizing ourselves in the name of the divine, and in the parallel things, doing our work and all the worldly interactions, that needs to be stabilized. We have to stabilize that. Becoming the witness consciousness again and again. The moment we see, something is again overwhelming. Anything here, anyone? So this disinterest is also a very important word here. Disinterested. You must not cherish the illusion that if you want to follow the straight path, now we all know about the straight path. Mother says one is a detour path, you take many twists and turns and then reach the ultimate. And then the other is the direct path, which you are now convinced what is the work to be done and now you are at it. So Mother says that if you want to follow the straight path, you must not cherish the illusion. If you are modest, if you seek purity, if you are disinterested, if you want to lead a solitary existence and have a clear judgment, that things will become easy. Easy nahi hai. Because many a times we turn to spirituality because there is so much difficulty outwardly in our samsaric existence. That's why most of us turn to spirituality. So spiritual path is not easy. That's what Mother is saying. That even the straight paths is not easy. Aurobindo says in Savitri, a long, dim preparation is man's life. So it is quite contrary. When you begin to advance towards inner and outer perfection, the difficulties start at the same time. So because now, see, it's like if everywhere outside there is disorder and I have a space and that also is disorderly, then it's all like in sync, everything is disordered. But now if you want to maintain a little clean sanctuary at least, but rest, still everything is in chaos. So everything will from time to time become overwhelming and actually revolt against the sanctuary that you are making. And that is what Mother says, that it keeps on happening. So you must not think that the path is easy, but actually it becomes actually more difficult because you will be questioned again and again that what are you doing? Have you gone mad? See, we are living like this. Why do you want to live like that? We are going, attending weddings and celebrations and everything. Why are you not doing that? So questions will be asked. कीचड़ उछाला जाएगा, सब कुछ होगा, but क्या उसके लिए तैयार हैं हम? Are we convinced that this is the way I want to go ahead? So that conviction from time to time we have to make strong within us. Yeah, keep sharing if there is anything. Please unmute at any time. I have very often heard people saying, oh, now that I am trying to be good, everybody seems to be bad to me. But this is precisely to teach you that one should not be good with an interested motive. One should not be good so that others will be good to you. One must be good for the sake of being good. It is always the same lesson. One must do as well as one can, the best one can, but without expecting a result. This is what Badalji was sharing from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that do the work and not bothering much about the results. But without expecting a result, without doing it with a view to the result. You are doing it because it's your swadharma. You can't do otherwise. So Arjun did his swadharma. That's what Krishna was convincing him that it's your swadharma. You have to do it. Why are you going away from that path? Because that also you will repent later. Better do it right now, irrespective of the result. So without expecting a result, without doing it with a view to the result, just this attitude, to expect a reward for a good action, to become good because one thinks that this will make life easier, takes away all value from the good action. So whatever I am doing in this case, being good, or my behavior, or wanting to live in a particular uh, way, I am doing it because there is no other choice for me. So even if I get from time to time stones and eggs and tomatoes thrown at me, I can't help being otherwise. So one has found one's swadharma and the life is unfolding. You must be good for the love of goodness. You must be just for the love of justice. You must be pure for the love of purity, and you must be disinterested for the love of disinterestedness. Then you are sure to advance on the way. So many a times we think, we talk or hear people say that, oh, but I have surrendered, but why is this not happening with me? So we do surrender, but we expect a result from surrender. So to surrender for the joy of surrendering, to walk on the path because of the joy of walking on the path, not that this path will lead me somewhere which will bring me this and that and whatever. And if there is actually something which interests us otherwise, if Rupert Spira, one of the masters, he says that if there is anything in this whole wide world, right now you are sitting listening to me, he says, and then if there is anything else that is interesting to you right now, you should better do that rather than trying to be sitting here and trying to understand this. Because when we are doing anything where we actually want to be, irrespective of approvals, disapprovals, doesn't matter. The whole world has abandoned you, your kinships, close relations have abandoned you, still you want to be on the path? Yes. So then we should do that. So all these difficulties in that sense, then they test our conviction that अगर कोई साथ नहीं देगा तब भी चलोगे? हाँ चलेंगे. अगर साथ जो चल रहे थे वो छोड़ के चले जाएंगे तब भी चलोगे? हाँ चलेंगे. So like that our conviction increases. Yeah, any reflections on this passage, anyone?
In Bengal, there was one person, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. So there is social injustice at that time prevailing in the society. So widow remarriage. So he was advocating that. So, and the people tried to kill him. Actually, somebody told him that don't go through that path because somebody has planned this that. He says, why I have not done anything good to him, so why is he interested to kill me? Good or bad? So it was for the society actually he was doing. So personally, that person, those who are not allowed to do, they are not affected. They themselves are not affected, but they feel that this is bad, or something. So he says, I have not done any good, so why he is planning like this? And this Ramakrishna Paramahansa visited him during his lifetime. He visited him. He says, he was known as Vidya Sagar. Sagar is there, no? So he says, I was so far in the pond and in the rivulet and all this. Now I have come to the Sagar. He started with that. So nobody was understanding it. Nobody has told so far like these words. He supported whatever he was doing actually for the social justice.
Yeah, beautiful. I remember reading a lot about Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar ji when we were studying as children in schools. Somewhere I remember reading about him, and it was always, it left a mark. What he was trying to do at that time, it left a mark. Yes.
Yes.
So it's really good. I think more stories like these tell us that all the people who have actually been path breakers in their own time, they have to face a lot of criticism, and irrespective of that, they go on. We also have in contemporary times the example of, I think, Kiran Bedi ji. who did a lot of revolutionary stuff in prisons, and all of us are aware. And if we ask her, it was not without any rejections and
Yeah,
disapprovals that she was able to.
when she was police commissioner or something in Delhi also, because we were in Delhi at that time. In the two-wheeler, more than two persons are not permitted in two-wheeler. But normally the defense officers and all, they used to go. And so somebody says that I am a defense officer, so I am going. The three persons are going. He says, all the more shame. She says, all the more shame. Because you could understand that you are an officer, but you are breaking the rule and you are saying that I am a defense officer. And not only that, even in Pondicherry, just 1 or 2 years back, she was the governor there. And there also she has gone out of the way and all those things. Though politically she was in problem there.
Yes,
But
yes.
otherwise, she has done a lot of positive
Yeah,
things there.
yeah. Yes. Yeah, anybody else here? Anyone? All right, so let's read, before we move on to the next passage, let's read this passage once more, if anyone would like to do, and then we go to the next one.
Shall I read, Monica?
Yes, please.
Be good for the sake of being good. You must not cherish the illusion that if you want to follow the straight path, if you are modest, if you seek purity, if you are disinterested, if you want to lead a solitary existence and have a clear judgment, things will become easy. It is quite the contrary. When you begin to advance towards inner and outer perfection, the difficulties start at the same time. I have very often heard people saying, "Oh, now that I am trying to be good, everybody seems to be bad to me." But this is precisely to teach you that one should not be good with an interested motive. One should not be good so that others will be good to you. One must be good for the sake of being good. It is always the same lesson. One must do as well as one can, the best one can, but without expecting a result, without doing it with a view to the result. Just this attitude, to expect a reward for a good action, to become good because one thinks that this will make life easier, takes away all the value from the good action. You must be good for the love of goodness. You must be just for the love of justice. You must be pure for the love of purity. And you must be disinterested for the love of disinterestedness. Then you are sure to advance on the way. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. So, this last 4 lines, again, I think we have to change our taste when we are used to oily, spicy food. Then what happens that we don't like good food, which is healthy. We find it too bland, oftentimes. So here mother says that for the love of goodness, you must be good. So you develop that taste. You cultivate that taste of having a peaceful life, having clear mind. As mother says in prayers and meditations, don't torment my child. Peace, peace, peace. So not to torment ourselves, we have to cultivate that taste. So somebody may have said something in the morning or a few minutes ago, but now you have developed that taste that you don't want to torment yourself. So you, as like insect Badalji was sharing, you just shrug it off your shoulders, like dust or something. You just shake it off and go on with mother's name, whoever one resonates with. So we have to cultivate this good taste for our being, because this is the being which harbors the divine, immanent divine, and the temple has to be kept clean. So for the love of goodness, and then mother says, for the love of purity, be pure. For the love of disinterestedness, be disinterested. ये नहीं कि मेरे को disinterested से क्या मिलने वाला है, फिर तो वो interest हो गया, that defeats its own purpose. So we have to cultivate all these good tastes in our life. Why? Because they are actually beneficial, not only to us, but for our surroundings also. Although at times in ignorance, even what we were sharing about people who have been path breakers, the surroundings may not understand, but that would not matter much then. Slowly we also will get the capacity, open our hearts, that some compassion will come in our heart.
So, Monica, can we elaborate on we should be disinterested for the sake of disinterestedness? That's a little confusing, actually.
So, for example, you gift someone something, and usually, I'm not saying every time, but usually if we gift something to someone, not wantingly, we have a expectation of return, right? In some or the other way, it will be returned. So that is an interested interaction. So if I observe in myself an expectation of return, I look at it and I say, oh, this is not disinterest, this is interest still in me, right? First this, then I try to be again we experiment with ourselves, so we try to be disinterested. So still you offer something to some people, and then you are now totally in yourself. You're not, your look is not outside that, oh, I have given this much, how would the other person reciprocate? The look is not outside now. The mind is ingathered in the divine within the being. Now, what you do is that you observe that disinterestedness is actually a nice thing. You observe it for yourself. Why? Because it torments you not at all. Interest torments you, right? When we are interested in things, then it torments us. But disinterest doesn't torment us. So when we look at, see, अब सिगरेट फूकते हैं तो हमको पता लग जाता है कि सिगरेट फूकने से क्या इफेक्ट्स हो रहे हैं. It's quite visible. So these things also, they appear intangible, they are very tangible. That the moment we are desirous, we begin to torment ourselves, we suffer, we are in, not in peace. The moment we begin to go round and round in our mind, again non-peace comes, lots of garbage we cultivate. So when we look at the benefit of disinterestedness, then I am disinterested just for the sake of disinterestedness, because I know it is good for me. है ना, उबला हुआ खाना क्यों खाना है मुझे? ये नहीं कि उबला हुआ खाना किसी ने बोला हुआ है या डॉक्टर बोलते हैं कि नहीं ये मेरे सेहत के लिए अच्छा है, नहीं, वो तो चलो वहां से इनपुट आया बाहर से, बट जब मैंने खुद उबला हुआ खाना खा के देखा and the effects it had on my body, I just felt, slowly you cultivate that taste. So disinterestedness is like that taste that you develop. Once you develop it, it would be now becoming more and more impossible that you become interested in other people's affairs. It will become more and more difficult. और फिर होगा क्या? Mother tells, I think at many places, कि the moment any interest begins to come up somewhere, उसकी वजह से आपको अनईज होनी शुरू हो जाएगी आपके बीइंग में, क्योंकि अब आदत नहीं रही ना, इंटरेस्ट की आदत नहीं रही. So the being has adapted to disinterestedness. Earlier, we were always interested in thousands of unnumbered lives, and that never brought us, to any confusion, because that was the way of my life. Chaos was way of my life. Now, when we cultivate a new way in life, then by observation of its effects, we see that disinterestedness is actually bringing a lot of clarity, peace, and serenity in me. So why would I not be disinterested? So then उसके पीछे कोई और मोटिव नहीं रह गया कि अच्छा मैं disinterested इसलिए हो रही हूँ क्योंकि फिर वो और मोटिव नहीं आ गया. बस ये वाला मोटिव तो होगा ही होगा. I think this, if we can call it a motive, that it brings you benefit. That in mother's prayers and meditations also, mother says that do not torment thyself, my child, peace, peace, peace. है ना? तो टॉर्मेंट नहीं करना अब हमने अपने आप को, अब हमको नई हैबिट्स कल्टीवेट करनी है, विच आर पीसफुल हैबिट्स where mind is ingathered, because we know that if we get too much into other people's lives and affairs and the look is outside, then it is just chaos and we can't work in chaos. So like one way, this is one way of looking at it, that disinterested for the sake of, like आपका टेस्ट अब चेंज हो चुका है, तो उसके लिए आप डिसइंटरेस्टेड हो. Yeah, anything more? Anyone?
Is remembering one story is remotely connected like this. So it was connected with Jesus Christ. Maybe because in the Bible you see, love thy neighbor. Love thy neighbor. So there's one father in one of the church, and in the remote places there is a church actually, some constructed in a small way, but the father is not there for prayers every day there or something like that. So then somebody, so they used to call Padri. The Padri used to go at times, maybe once in a month or once in 3 months or something, and he used to visit those places and all, and again he used to recite along with the villagers there. So in these remote places, and there was some water body and all over the in the boat and all, you have to go for a whole day like this. There are such places of this nature. So one day that father went for that type of visit, and there in the village, so all the people came. They were told that we'll be visiting, and all the people came and all, and the daytime they did the prayer and all. And the one person was there. He was trying to remember the utterings what father was trying to do, but in the afternoon sometimes or in the evening, that father has gone. Father has gone in that water body with the boat and all, and they saw him off. But after some time, the father was trying to recollect. Means that person was trying to recollect, that villager, old villager. He was trying to recollect, but he was forgetting one word of that prayer. So then, what to do? In the villages, nobody could answer him actually what was the word. So then he decided to go to that this thing, and he started walking with a small lamp. He started walking, but there was water, so he started walking on the water and all. And then in the boat, from the remote places, from very far off, they could see that one lamp is approaching to their boat. That father was observing, father of the church. And so they are saying that they are coming towards them only. And then that light reached that place. And so he got into the boat. And he says that, excuse me, father, I have forgotten one word, that prayer. He knelt down and out. And he says, I have forgotten one word of this prayer. Whatever I remember, I'm just repeating, and if you can kindly tell me this particular word which I have forgotten. He says that I will tell you everything, but first you tell me that how did you come over that water? He says, it is very simple. This is how. He says, I love water, and water allows me to walk over it. It was so strong. I love water because water loves me and allows me to walk over it. In turn, water also loves me. I love water. Water also loves me and allows me to walk over it. So that was the thing. He was surprised that actually he should be the priest, not me, because the teaching was that love thy neighbor. So he was like we say the Brahmasmi. Brahman is everywhere, everything, inanimate, animal beings, and trees and plants and rocks and everywhere. This Brahma is there. So similarly, that love, you can have love to the water also, and not only to the human being or to the animals or something. So it can be anything actually. So that sort of spirit. That was the story in the school somewhere. It was there actually. So yeah, when we are connecting this, you must be good for the love of goodness. You must be just for the love of justice. You must be pure for the love of purity. Somehow this was coming in my mind.
Yeah, thank you, Badalji.
When you were talking about disinterestedness, I was in my own practice. I often feel that whenever I try to be disinterested or aim for it, one impediment that comes in the way is that I feel that I also become uninterested. So and it's very easy to see that, oh, I'm very disinterested, but it is actually not disinterestedness, because you have to be passionately involved but yet step back from it. And I think that's the challenge. And this this movie I've watched, Oppenheimer, a lot. It's so much in the news, and it was something really beautiful. Oppenheimer himself was, he used to read Upanishads and Gita a lot, Sanskrit scholar and everybody. And in the movie, it showed that when he was making that atomic bomb, he was so much passionately involved in it. And every time, and many people told him that what you're doing is going to bring a lot of misery and suffering if it goes in the wrong hand. But he always gave this logic of, I'm doing it for my country. So many so many American boys will come back home if we have this. So and he's very passionately involved. But when they try the bomb, and when it goes off, and that move, it shows that this shlok is well in Gita. I think it's in chapter 11, where Krishna says that my splendor is nothing in front of, if even if 100 suns come out. So that's how he describes his splendor. And that's the thing that comes in in front of him. And he says that I have become the death and a destroyer of the world. And from that moment itself, he becomes very uneasy. So you see a sudden shift in his personality. And from that moment onwards, he started working against nuclear disarmament, especially when he understands the hydrogen bomb, and he realizes what he has done. Einstein, everybody tried to tell him, but he doesn't realize. And there is one thing that he says, there is in English, but I could relate it to disinterested, that said, I work with a lot of passion, and he speaks with Einstein, they have a conversation, and so I did, I worked with a lot of passion, but I was not, now I'm paraphrasing, but there's this thing, he said, that I was not disinterested in my work, that I did not step back and look what I'm producing, because I was so much involved in it. So that's so important as well. Like, even if the biggest thing, and even if your motives are good, and his motives were really good, that he thought that it will benefit his country. But if we are not disinterested, even if we think we are doing something really good, it will never be a divine work. I think that was something that, that really hit me and myself as well. That, I mean, my practice, I always feel that how can we be passionately involved and yet step back? Because disinterestedness sometimes become uninterestedness, where I say it's okay, it's fine. Yeah, so just that on disinterestedness.
Yeah, very true. So disinterested and uninterested, I think it's a good thing to reflect upon. And we see that people who, if we look back at inspirational lives, people who have actually nothing that they wanted from the material world, they were actually able to give so much to the material world that we still remember them. So this is what we were discussing earlier, that if we plunge our roots in the infinite, that becomes our sustenance for our emotions, thoughts, energy, everything. Ideas, intuitions, everything, unfolding of dharma. So that becomes the root. And then the spread is in the universe, in the cosmos. So that is why uninterest will not be there. In a true unfolding of dharma, the uninterest will not be there, because that would be tamas. जब हम truly, when we are truly rooted in the divine, I think that's a very good indicator for us, that when we are truly rooted in the divine, even not wanting any interest in the outward interactions, we know that this is the right thing to do, and you will have to get up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It doesn't matter what time you are getting up, but you will do it just for the sake of the work that you are doing. क्योंकि वो उचित है, इसी को उचित कर्म कहते हैं. जो कर्म उस समय में उचित है वो आप करोगे, क्योंकि आपको उससे कुछ चाहिए नहीं, बट इस समय में वही उचित है. तो दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल उचित कर्म. जो हम जैसे गीता की बात कर रहे थे, तो जो कृष्ण जी उसको श्री कृष्णा जो अर्जुन को कह रहे हैं, वो कह रहे हैं तेरे लिए यही उचित है. तो चाहना ना चाहना तू अभी बगल में रख, ये काम कर. और वही हम सबको करना है कि जो हमें, और उचित क्या है, वो हमें श्री कृष्णा अभी तो बाहर है, उसके अर्जुन के बाहर प्रेजेंट है, बट देर इज एन इमनेंट डिवाइन इन ऑल ऑफ अस. वी ऑल आर अवेयर ऑफ दैट. So to get in touch with that true consciousness and to always be guided by that. And in the beginning, we begin with aspirations that I know there is some higher power sitting in me and outside of me. So I don't know what I should do, but you tell me what I should do. So it begins with that aspiration कि कोई भी काम करने से पहले कुछ भी initiative or direction या whatever in our day-to-day life, we have that aspiration that we want to do the highest. We don't want to make way for our rigid and narrow opinions. तो जब aspiration होती है तो फिर धीरे धीरे unfolding of truth भी होती है.
There was also this very good story. Now forgot the name of the sadhak. It was Pranab or somebody else. But mother, on his birthday, mother said, "I'm so happy with your service that I can give you anything that you would like. You can take nirvana, or like whatever you'll ask, I will give it to you. 2 gifts or something like that," she said. And the sadhak, and a few other people were there as well. And Nalnida was also there, and few other people was there, and Nirodha was there. And he said, "Mother, I want 2 dhotis or pant, something like that," he said. And mother smiled, and mother gave it. And I was really intrigued that, my God, what big opportunity. She's saying anything you can get. Why did he ask, I want to supramentalize, or I want to get peace? And when he went away, of course, and then I think somebody asked him that, why didn't you ask? Like, why didn't you ask for peace or nirvana or enlightenment? You had such a good opportunity. And he just smiled and he said that, well, whatever is good for me, like as you said, jo mere liye uchit hai, mother will give me. Why do I have to ask? It touched me so much that kind of surrenderance, that divine is saying that you ask. And we all see that Ravana or other people, so much tapasya they do to just to ask. And here the divine mother is giving something on the platter, and in that time also so much surrender that you don't want to ask, because whatever is good for you, she'll anyway give you. And then she said, okay, then why did you ask these 2 things, two pants? He said, but mother asked me, so I cannot let her wish, like she's offered me something, so I can't go it to waste. So I said, okay, mother, give me something like, to wear. That really touched me, as that to really become an aspiration, where we develop this thing that we just sit and ask together divine that, whatever is good for me, give me that. It could be anything. Now it could be a suffering, a big mental health problem, or anything like that, but we will know that that is right. So like, even for me, that was really touching, as you were telling as well. Whatever is good for me, may that come to me.
Yeah, it was Amrita Da.
Right. And he asked for banyan.
Banyan.
Yeah.
Something to wear, I remember. Yeah. Thank you.
It's good to go through these anecdotes, they really are so inspirational and move us, propel us further on the path. So yes. I think maybe we can then stop here today. Any last comments, anyone?
Yeah, Monica, I just want to ask you one question about, the last session. You were mentioning that, people who are jealous or having some, what to say, jealous or fear or, anger, people will not be happy.
Insecurity.
Yeah, but, they will not be at ease. You were mentioning something, but can you explain what is that? Because
No, what I meant by saying that is that it keeps us in agitation. We are in constant agitation. But usually we are not aware of this agitation because hardly we are looking at ourselves. We are always looking at other people, outside. क्योंकि senses सारी की सारी बाहर के बारे में बताती हैं. All the senses are turned outside. So whatever sensory input I am getting, that's what my mind is engaging in most of the time. So usually when we are used to a state of being in disturbing emotions, for a long time we don't know that they are disturbing us. That becomes our usual way of habit. It's like habitual to me for a long time. Nothing appears that, oh, I am doing something wrong. No. But when the look turns inside, when it begins to bring me pain and suffering, and the look turns within, then I see that, oh my God, so much chaos is going on in the being all the time. So that's why when we sit for meditation, when we begin to sit for meditation sometimes in the beginning, what we see is a lot of chaos in our being. Instantly peace does not come, and that is why people don't advise lots of meditation, hours and hours of meditation to people who are having psychologically difficulties right now, because that can be even more disturbing for them. क्योंकि भैया ये चल क्या रहा है अंदर, what is happening within. So what I meant by that, uneasiness of these disturbing emotions is that when we are used to a kind of way, then we don't notice it. But when we turn the look within, we will see that when I am interested too much in other people's affairs, no matter the other are very close to me, then I do become disturbed. When I am wanting things for myself, then I do become disturbed. This we get to know only when the look turns within. The look is within the being. कोई है जो इस being को देख रहा है. Then we begin to get a little uneasy when that thing is happening. But for a long time, actually, we are not uneasy. That's why, I use the example of, say, I am used to eating a lot of oily and spicy food. Now, I don't think it is bad for my health because I'm doing fine, right? But when it begins to give me troubles in my body, then I look at the body and see, oh, it gives me burps. Oh, in the morning I ate a samosa or whatever, and now see, I am having acidity. So when it begins to pain us a little, then we look at ourselves, and through that pain we realize what all we have been doing to ourselves. Before that we don't realize it usually, and this is how we realize. So in that sense, suffering or pain is a kind of a signal to come back home and to look at this temple that we have been given, and to keep it clean, neat and tidy, so that, as Aurobindo says, the divine presence can be installed here. So we begin to become sensitive to that unease that comes to me when I think of all the other things and what can go wrong, and why is that person doing that to me, or why did he say that to me in the morning. I now see the disturbance it causes. So I think I must have been in this context.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Monica, I also had a question on this. I was just thinking about it. There's two paths told on that even in integral yoga, we have aspiration, rejection and surrender. So there's this rejection, middle phase of rejection, where you do neti, or you just reject the feeling, reject the negative movement or the movement which are not very good. And then we have this path where there is witness consciousness, where you don't do anything, but you just keep watching. So you're not involved, a part of you is not involved with that. Just keep watching. I just wanted to ask, are they two different or are they just steps or like just thought
नहीं,
wanted to
दोनों
just
they are both like this. See, we जो witnessing वाला part है, we are always a witness. आपको पेट में दर्द होती है, हमको पता लगता है ना मेरे पेट में दर्द है, तो वो जो पता लग रहा है वो विटनेसिंग की वजह से तो लग रहा है. So witnessing is forever present because of that only I know what is happening in my being. मैंने एक शब्द बोला किसी को, मुझे पता है वो क्या शब्द है, तो वो जो पता है वही तो विटनेसिंग है. So we have to not become a witness, actually we just have to realize that witnessing is there. और हम ignorance in one of the way ignorance can be put is that I ignore this witnessing, all my look is towards the content of witnessing. उस ड्रामा में हम लॉस्ट हो जाते हैं, लेकिन ये नहीं देखते कि ओ यहाँ पे कोई, ये कौन बैठा है ये देखने वाला, ये हमेशा देखता रहता है. वहां पे हम इंटरेस्टेड नहीं होते हैं. We ignored its presence, and that is what Sri Aurobindo calls the Purusha agrees to be ignored for a long time, because it evolves through the happenings of Prakriti, which is of course thoughts, feelings, sensations, outer happenings, so that there comes a point in my life that now I turn the look within and I look at the witness also. And it's because of the witnessing presence only that I am able to aspire, I'm able to reject, क्योंकि कौन बता रहा है कि what is worth rejecting? वो observation, वो knowing ही तो बता रही है ना? So it's all like this. जैसे घर में झाड़ू देते हैं, तो जब हम झाड़ू कर रहे हैं तो कौन बता रहा है कि क्या फेंकने लायक है क्या नहीं फेंकने लायक है? हम बेड नहीं उठा के फेंक देते, तो कुछ है जो हमें काम कर रहा है, कचरा उठा के फेंकते हैं. लेकिन होता क्या है, वेयर वी स्लिप इज दैट जब ये चीजें हमारे अंदर आ रही होती हैं तो ये कचरा नहीं लगती हैं. दैट्स व्हाई श्री अरबिंदो यूजेस द वर्ड चेरिश्ड गेस्ट्स. वी चेरिश देम. We love to ruminate in those thoughts. They give us pleasure in the beginning. But when they are left outside, in Savitri, this line comes, when the cherished guests are left outside and the inner lamps are lit, then we commune with the divine within. तो जब तक वो चेरिश्ड रहेंगे तो वो गार्बेज नहीं लगेंगे ना, फिर मैं झाड़ू क्यों दूंगी उनको? फिर तो मैं खूब मजे करूंगी इनके साथ. फिर वही मजा वो सफरिंग में कुछ टाइम में बदल जाता है. तब मुझे लगता है ओ ये तो कचरा उठा लिया. So that's how the process happens. So to be aware of all the garbage that we keep collecting in the name of cherished guests, and to root ourselves only in the divine name, and to keep doing works as long as we are alive, and even more to come back for the divine work. क्योंकि that's what it's a fulfilled life lived. ईशा उपनिषद में भी यही है ना कि this the whole manifestation is for the enjoyment of the Lord. So you should come again, and we should actually come again and again for doing the works, divine works. ये नहीं बोलना चाहिए कि हे भगवान जल्दी से उठा ले, ये तो बड़ी सफरिंग है ना. सफरिंग तब तक है जब तक आप डिजायर सोल से आइडेंटिफाइड हो. ये हम सबको अभी धीरे धीरे पता लगता है जैसे मदर श्री अरबिंदो को पढ़ते हैं. So as long as we identify ourselves there with the vital self, with the desire self, तब तक सफरिंग है. जब हम उससे हमको पुश असाइड कर देते हैं, अगेन इन सावित्री इट कम्स द लोअर नेचर born in ignorance, she pushed aside, obedient she sat to the high command. तो ये हम सबको करना है sooner later. Yes, Sarda ji?
No, Monica, sorry, by
Okay,
mistake.
Okay, no problem. So any last things, or shall we end here now? Okay, so let's end with maybe a prayer and aspiration for all of us and all countless number of beings. May we all have lots of contentment in our heart and progress and joy in our life. May we be able to root ourselves truly in the infinite and to do all the works with a lot of vigor and enthusiasm. Thank you.